All right, so today I'm working on activity two, which is flash drafting my entire argument. So, in order to do activity two, I also have activity one up on my screen because that's my plan for my argument. So, if I have that on half the screen, that'll make it really easy for me to just write complete sentences. So, a lot of the work is already done in my planning activity, and I just need to put it into paragraphs and organize it. So when I'm writing a rough draft, the first thing I always do is go through and write just a general outline of what goes into each paragraph. So I know that I have an introduction, and I also know that in an introduction, what typically is in there is I know it starts with a hook, something that's going to draw my audience in. I'm also going to name my claim, and then I might even preview some of the reasons that I'm about to give. So I might just give people a glimpse of what's going to come in my body paragraphs. And in an argument, I know that I probably need to have a lot of reasoning to support my argument. So typically each one of these body paragraphs is one of those reasons. So I know that this is going to be three different body paragraphs. And then I also know that I'm going to want to have a paragraph for the counterclaim and rebuttal. And then, of course, I'm going to end with my conclusion. Okay, so this is kind of how I always start. And then I might even go back and fill in some other things. So I know that I'm also going to have my evidence in here, and I'm going to have to explain that evidence. I also know that for my rebuttal to be strong, I should probably have evidence in there as well. So this just kind of gives me an idea of what I need to go back now and elaborate on. So I struggle with hooks. That's kind of the last thing that I write because it's tricky sometimes to think of something that's going to draw your audience in. So I like to write the whole thing and then go back and add that. So I'm going to start with my claim. So cell phones are not necessary in the classroom, but should be allowed in downtime. For example, during missile miles, before and after school, or even during lunch might be acceptable times to use your cell phone. So notice I didn't quite copy my claim word for word. I kind of elaborated on it a little bit. I might even go back and add to that a little bit. So then I also want to give kind of a preview of what's about to come. So the cell phones are not necessary in the classroom, but should be allowed in downtime. For example, during missile miles, before and after school, or even during lunch might be acceptable times to use cell phones in school. Cell phones have led to lower academic performance for some students. We might also consider the negative impact cell phone use in school has on students who are not able to have their own phone. Also, in a district that provides Chromebooks to each student, there is no educational need for cell phones. So notice I just took all three of my reasons and I kind of paraphrased them. I worded them a little bit differently, or actually I wrote them into complete sentences. And you'll also notice that I'm not going back right now to fix my spelling mistakes. That doesn't matter in a flash draft. A flash draft is meant to do exactly what you're seeing me do, which is planning it out really roughly, and then I'll go back and edit. So now I'm going to start elaborating on reason one and move on through my draft and hopefully get the whole thing done within, 20 to 30 minutes.